those days, for some reasons, I see the joy on your face. I see the happiness on your face. What's cooking?
Well, we had another great week in my office, but more even importantly, uh, Vice President Harris, went on the road with her vice president candidate, and they're taking the country by storm. They're receiving big crowds and big responses. In one state, they have 20,000. In Pennsylvania, they had 20,000 people apply to be volunteers. Wow. That's in one state. Mm-hmm. So there's tremendous enthusiasm in the country. We all know that the country didn't want to have the choice between two 80-year-olds. And so President Biden did the right thing by the country. He gave up his power, which normally politicians don't do, and he did it for the good of the country rather than his own ego. And so now the country has a big choice. We have a huge choice now. We have a young woman who has proven herself, who worked at McDonald's, came from a family that was middle class. Mm-hmm. She worked her way up. She went to law school. She became a prosecutor. Later on, she became the Attorney General of California, which is no small feat. A state like California, which the gross national product of California is more than most countries. Then she got herself elected as a senator, from California, which she is now. But she presents a vision for America that is what we all need. She was on there yesterday, and they were congratulating really themselves because they were able to get Medicare now to be able to negotiate with Big Pharma, and now $400 a month, which is what people were paying with diabetes for their medication. Now they cannot charge more than $35. So just things like that are going to make a huge, huge difference for the majority of Americans.
You seem to be a Democrat in your soul.
Well, I think I am. I'm pretty sure I am. Okay. I grew up in a family where my parents were Democrats, but there are during my life there are Republicans. There are Republicans who I favored and who I thought were the best candidates. But for the most part, I've always voted Democrat because I feel like the Democrats are for the people, whereas the Republicans are for the special interests, the banks, the insurance companies, now the big grocery stores that are overcharging us.
Mm-hmm. And right now, tell us about this week. What type of evaluation you can make about this week? What type of cases that you received this week, so we can share the experience with the people.
We got 3 foreclosure cases this week. One of them for sure came from one of your listeners. They all are in foreclosure. We're going to represent all 3 of them, and we're going to put the brakes on those foreclosures, and then we're going to apply for a modification or, in one case, a reinstatement of their mortgage. But by putting the brakes on and representing them in the foreclosure case, it's going to give us the time that we need to modify their mortgage or reinstate their mortgage, and which is the goal in every case, because we don't want any of our clients to lose their house.
Mm-hmm. I see this week the inflation is kind of a little bit down, and then maybe by next month or before the end of the year, the interest rate can go down. So you told me from the beginning, Sylvia, you are going to see more foreclosure cases, and it's happening.
Yeah, and especially you're gonna see them in condominiums, because now the state law requires the condominiums to have a reserve account, because as a result of the Champaign Towers collapse, because in that condominium association, they kept putting off collecting the money they needed to fix the foundation of the building, which is why the building collapsed. So now they're requiring all the associations, especially for the older buildings in Miami, and we have plenty of them, to have reserve funds. So their maintenance, say their maintenance is $300, the maintenance is going up dramatically. Some of the maintenance payments are actually doubling, and they're special assessments. And this is affecting all these people that are living on a fixed income or living on Social Security. And a lot of them, I'm afraid, may have to sell their condominium because they may not be able to keep up the payments.
Let's go to a quick claim deed. Let's say I have a friend of mine and who's really interested of buying a house, and then his credit is not really enough, and it comes to me and say, okay, my friend, can you help me? And let's say I co-sign that friend, and then how long, and if he's qualified, to buy, and then how long after, if everything, the deal is, is being done, how long he has to take and then to withdraw my name, take away my name from the deal? How long he has to
Well, that's always a problem because if you co-sign a loan, the bank is not going to release you from that loan unless he can find a substitute, somebody who has at least as good or better credit than you have. Because the reason that the bank gave him the loan was because of your credit and his credit together. So he either has to find a substitute for you, or he has to refinance. He can refinance later on. The way houses are going up now, and they've been going up 10, 15, 20% in a year, and maybe after a 2-year period, there's enough equity in the house that he can refinance it. When he refinances the house, then there's the opportunity to take you off. The other issue is that you need to have an agreement in writing with him. When you co-sign the loan, you need to have an agreement in writing with him that if something happens, you have the opportunity to buy his share out, or you buy his share out, because he can get divorced. Anything else can happen, but you really should have an agreement to protect yourself. But you're also protecting him. Because if he stops making the payments, then you're going to have to make the payments. Otherwise, they're going to file a foreclosure. It's going to kill your credit. So you need to be able to have the opportunity. We prepare those agreements where if you co-sign a loan and you're on that loan, you're just as responsible as he is, even if you're not living in the house. So we prepare those agreements where we have a buy-sell agreement that if he can't afford it anymore, then he sells his share to you, and vice versa.
No, but even I don't give a dime and the deposit.
It doesn't make any difference. You're on the hook for that mortgage. If he signs a $200,000 mortgage, you're just as responsible for that $200,000, even though you've never spent a night in that house.
Wow.
Because and also you're going to want to be on the deed, okay? Sometimes they don't require it, but you're going to want to be on the deed with him also. And if the agreement also encompasses a quitclaim deed that you keep in security in your safety deposit box for any eventuality, that's something that you should do, because I've had numerous cases over the last 25, 30 years where somebody co-signed and then the people defaulted, and my client ended up holding the bag and had to go through years of litigation, spent thousands of dollars in order to be able to straighten himself out.
Wow. What would we talk about again today?
Well, the other thing, and there was an article in this morning's paper. The hackers are out there hacking everything. Well, there was an article in the paper today. They said, no, it's the biggest hack in history of the United States. They hacked 2.4 billion people around the world, which encompasses almost everybody in the United States. So these hackers, they have all our records. They have our date of birth. They have our Social Security number. They have everything, and they've put that information out on the internet. And so all these organizations that do identity theft now have access to all our records. So what they recommended today in the paper was that you contact, there's 3 main reporting agencies in the United States. what they recommended is that you, each and every one of us, contact those 3 reporting agencies and put a lock on our credit.
Okay.
Put a lock on our credit so that nobody can go and take out a credit card in your name or go out and open a bank account in your name. If you put a lock through the credit bureaus, then nobody will be able to do that. If you do apply for a credit card, then you contact the credit reporting agencies and said, no, I am applying for a MasterCard or a Visa card. But if you want to protect yourself against all this identity theft that's going on, you need to contact. I would do it today, but in the next few days, because this has been going on, and so let's say they have all our records. They have all our records.
You remember what's happened? I think 2 weeks ago, when no airplane could fly for hours.
For Delta.
Yeah, for hours. So that's maybe the same situation.
Unfortunately, the internet's a great thing, but we have now turned our society over to the internet. The water department, everything is run on computers.
Everything.
All those computers can be hacked. So they have the ability to shut down your water supply. They can shut down the electricity. They can shut down the elevators in your building.
They can go to your bank account.
They go into your bank account and take your money out. So a lot of people are going old school. You know, they're not emailing. They're not using all these different deals, these different programs where you can wire money or transfer money from one to the other. I think a lot of people are going back to the old-fashioned checks.
Yeah, so they should be.
And unfortunately, a lot of the young people have never learned in school. I found that out from a young assistant that came working with my office recently, and she said they never taught them in high school how to write a check. So now we're kind of going old school. The old paper checks may be the safest way to transfer and pay your bills now.
Alors, avocat dit nous que l'autre bagay, nous parler de foreclosure, nous parler de quick claim deed, nous parler de, en dernier moment, il parlait de ça que les hackers là. Ça veut dire son série de mauvais grains qui étaient à travers le monde, qui rentraient dans l'information personnelle. Nous, yo gen numéro social, nous, yo gen un numéro banque account, nous, yo gen adresse côté nous était, yo gen non nous first name nous, yo gen last name nous. Donc ça veut dire faire en pile attention parce qu'il dit dans moment gen laissé dans au school là n'a retourner encore parce que pour le moment internet là li bon c'est vrai mais la déranger société a donc il dit un article qui était sorti dans le journal et semaine ça qui montre que mais hackers yo pas dormi et y a cherché autant pour chien fou dans la rue donc attention pas capon. What is the last word for today?
Well, this week we settled 2 personal injury cases. You know, I do personal injury cases, automobile, slip and fall, inadequate security. Inadequate security, if you go to Home Depot and when you come out in the parking lot, somebody robs you, hits you in the head, that's inadequate security. Home Depot and all these stores and shopping centers are supposed to have security guards in their parking lots to protect us. So if that happens to you, you call my office. If you're in an automobile accident, call my office. If you're in a slip and fall, you fall over a box or a banana peel in the grocery store, you call my office. We've settled over 7,000 of these personal injury cases during my career. And it's already been proven that if you have an attorney representing you on a personal injury case, by average, you're going to get 3 times more money than if you try to negotiate it yourself with the insurance company. So if that happens, hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, we have a 24-hour answering service. Just call my office, 305-821-5500. The last thing I want to say, the kids are going back in school. Okay, let's keep an eye on the kids when they're coming and being picked up by the bus. Let's walk them to the bus stop. Let's wait for them while they get on the bus, and let's be there when they get off the bus. I know it's hard for a lot of families because everybody's working, but if there's somebody in your house, your grandmother, your uncle, or somebody that has the time to do that, we need to keep an eye on our kids. And so now the schools have them for most of the day, but when they're going to school and coming home, it would be a good idea to let's keep an eye on them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel Keel. Have a great Friday and a great weekend. Hope to see you next Friday.
And Sabir, remember, October 7th is the last day to register to vote. Let's not wait till October. Let's not wait till September. We have August. We have more. We have a couple of weeks more of August. Let's register to vote. So we can go over, and we have a Vice President Harris who's going to become our greatest president in November.
Thank you very much. Nou ta pale avec avocat Daniel Kiel.
Pa kite moustik morde yo. Isit nan sud Floride, si moustik pa pran vakans ou pa ka pran vakans. Esko te konen ke moustik telman remen kli mama amided ke yo multipliye tout ane ya. Prepare